Please find your seats. The program is going to begin in a few minutes. Please find your seats. Thank you.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Oh, we're fighting for our freedom. We shall not be moved. We're fighting for our freedom. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change's gonna come. Oh, yes it is. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. yes it is.
How I got over. How did I make it over? You know my soul look back and wonder, how did I make it over? As soon as I can see Jesus, the one who died for me, the one who bled and suffered, he died on dark Calvary. I'm gonna thank him for how he brought me. I'm gonna thank him for how he taught me. I'm gonna thank him for how he kept me. I've gotta thank him 'cause he never left me. I wanna sing in that heavenly choir. I wanna sing and never get tired. And I'm gonna thank him for all he's done for me. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just want to thank you, Lord. You've been so good. You've been so good. You've been so good. I just want to thank you, Lord.
Wow, what a performance. If that didn't inspire you, please check your pulse. Let's give a warm round of applause for Miranda Seawood, Cliff Nichols, and Miss Ella Lambie. They were amazing. I don't know if there could be a better way to bring the power and excitement to this event than to start with that, so thank you all very much. Well, my name is Scott Verity, and on behalf of the Northwest Arkansas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Council, I am pleased to welcome you to our 29th Recommitment celebration. And I want to emphasize celebration because of the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. We have all benefited from that, and it continues to impact lives around the world. He was a true change maker. I want to let you know that we're going to be honored to receive greetings tonight from Cyree Diaz. She is the president of the Dream Keepers. Now, the Dream Keepers are trying to raise money for a trip to Washington, D.C. So if you find Dr. John L. Colbert later this evening, he'll let you buy one of these lapel pins, and all that money is going to go to support the Dream Keepers on their trip to Washington, D.C. So please support them. Following Cyree, we will have Council Member DeAndre Jones. And after DeAndre Jones, we will have the Chancellor of the University of Arkansas, Dr. Charles Robinson. And they will all extend greetings. Following that, we will have an invocation by Pastor Jonathan Lauder of the historic St. James Missionary Baptist Church. So we are excited to have you here tonight. Take a deep breath, focus on the meaning of this event, and bring your enthusiasm because it's going to be a great night. Thank you for being here. We're honored to have you.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to stand before you today at this 29th annual Recommitment celebration for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On behalf of the MLK Dreamkeepers President, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your support during this time. I want to extend our deepest gratitude to the Northwest Arkansas MLK Council for their unwavering commitment to keeping Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. alive. Our year's theme echoes from the Lorraine Motel, the movement then and the mission now, challenges us to reflect on the past while asking us to act with the purpose in the present. The Lorraine Motel, forever remembered in our hearts as the place where Dr. King's life was taken, is also a symbol of the life where he gave his service to humanity. His work for justice, equality, and love transcended his time and continues to echo in our lives and communities today. This celebration reminds us we are a part of something bigger than ourselves, a movement rooted in love, compassion, and justice. It reminds us that our work today is tied to the sacrifices for those who came before us and the hopes for those who will come after us. So, as we recommit ourselves to the dream of Dr. King, let us not just celebrate his legacy, but let us live it. Together, we will recommit to the movement then and the mission now, so that one day we can all stand in the light that the dream of fully realized. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm delighted to stand before you on behalf of Mayor Molly Ron, who can't be with us this evening because she is attending the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Washington, D.C. Mayor Ron states, please know that our heart is here in this room, standing alongside us as we honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King's work was revolutionary, and it was also deeply personal. He reminded us that the fight for justice, equity, and dignity shows up in the everyday choices we make to create a more fair and compassionate world, a more fair and compassionate Fayetteville. It is in the conversations we have with our neighbors, the policies we advocate and fight for, and the courage we summon to demand better for those who come after us. As your mayor, I promise to keep pushing for policies that reflect the values we celebrate tonight: fairness, opportunity, and justice for everyone who calls Fayetteville home. But this is not work anyone can do alone. Fayetteville needs your voices, your advocacy, and your belief that a better, more equitable future is possible. As they sang this evening, a change is going to come. Dr. King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. He did not mean the arc bends on its own. It bends because of the hands that refuse to stop pulling it. Each of us, through our actions and our commitments, has the power to bend that arc for justice here in the great city of Fayetteville. I want to offer my sincere congratulations to Mayor Lionel Jordan. His recognition through the Dr. John O. Colbert Lifetime Achievement Award as a well-deserved honor. My frat brother, Mayor Jordan. Thank you, Mayor Jordan, for your commitment to equality and equity. Thank you to the MLK Council for your dedication, for your tireless work, and for your belief in this great community. Let us honor Dr. King not just with words, but with our actions. Together, we will continue the march toward a brighter, safer, and more just tomorrow. Thank you, and let's have a powerful evening. God bless you.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the University of Arkansas, I want to welcome you here and to express that we're delighted to be sponsors of this annual event. I was thinking about what I would share with you tonight. I went back to my undergraduate days. Yeah, that was a while back, right? And I thought about when I was a student of history, because I have 3 degrees in American history. And I was studying American history and reading and studying Dr. King and his speeches. And I have to admit, I was confused by Dr. King when I was an undergraduate student. Because Dr. King, in his I Have a Dream speech, he talked about the founding fathers digging deep wells of democracy. And I knew a little bit about the Constitution, and I didn't see deep wells. I saw shallow pits when it came to democracy. I was saying, what was he talking about? Clearly, he's an educated man. Surely he knows better. And then the letter from Birmingham jail, he's in jail, being imprisoned for fighting for human rights causes, and yet he refers to America as a great nation. And I thought, what in the world is he talking about? I mean, he's suffering because of, actions that seem far from great. And then in his very last speech, the speech where the mountaintop speech, you remember that one? He went on to talk about the Bill of Rights and the right to freedom of expression, the right to freedom of assembly. And he was there in Memphis fighting for sanitation workers to have, equal rights, human rights. And so I was wondering, when I was younger, what was Dr. King, what was he thinking that caused him to say such positive things about America? And then I heard a song by Donny Hathaway. And it was Giving Up, So Hard to Do. And part of that song, the lyric says, I know your image of me is what I hope to be. And that's when I understood Dr. King. Dr. King always looked at America from the position of America that he hoped it would be. And there was power in that if you think about it, because if he were a presidential candidate today, his slogan wouldn't be Make America Great Again. It would be Make America What It Should Have Been. Yeah. He always looked at America from the standpoint of what it should have been. And there's power in that because you're focusing on the goal. Your eyes are on the prize. And so that was the lesson I learned when I came to rectify my confusion on that Dr. King was an eternal optimist. He was a quintessential American because he never lost faith in this country. Despite all the things he could see, he wasn't in denial. He just was full of a spirit of hope. And I think that is a lesson for us today that, when the darkest times come, when we feel somewhat lost and confused and wonder, will it get better? Always remember that Dr. King believed that it would. And he worked towards that goal because he knew that the image of America is what he hoped it would be and what he was working to make it, because America at its core, its fundamental principles, if we live up to those, where everything that a society that is good and great will be. Thank you and enjoy the evening, and go Hogs. I got to say that.
Good evening. My name is Pastor Jonathan Louder, Senior Lead Servant at the St. James Missionary Baptist Church, the historic St. James Missionary Baptist Church. And when asked to give words of encouragement, I thought about how on August the 28th, 1963, in front of over 250,000 people, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood and declared to the world from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial his speech entitled, I Have a Dream. With a resounding voice, hearts were impacted and lives motivated to look to a day in which we would not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Nearly 5 years later, on April the 4th, 1968, James Earl Ray must then get the message because he assassinated Dr. King in an attempt to cease the manifestation of the dream. But what he did not know is that here we are 57 years later, and what he tried to end by taking out the dreamer just ignited the birth of even more dreamers. This is not the first time that a person who had a dream, thought by removing the dreamer, it would destroy the dream. For it was Joseph who, when he told his brothers his dream, plotted to rid themselves of the dreamer, only to know that according to Genesis 37, the father kept the dream in his heart. Joseph's father kept his dream. My grandfather kept the dream. My father kept the dream. I've kept the dream. And I've spoken to my children the dream. But the question I have today is when we will stop keeping the dream and start making the dream possible. My brothers and sisters, what Dr. King went through was only the beginning. But what you and I have is the opportunity to not just be dream keepers, but to be dream manifestators. All I'm trying to tell you is when God gives a dream, it's only God who gives you and I the power to move from dreaming about it to making it come to pass. Young people, around this room, you're gonna be celebrated today for your efforts in following your dreams. But please understand, you gotta be careful who you share your dream with, because everybody who wants your dream does not want to see your dream come to pass. But there was a hymn that said, we shall overcome someday. Well, why not someday and let it be today? So from my heart to yours, keep dreaming over the hills of Alabama. Keep dreaming through the plains of Arkansas. Keep dreaming even while you're faced with adversity. Because at the end of the day, if God be for you, he's more than the whole world against you. God bless you.
From breakfast in Arkansas to tables around the world, we serve the high-quality nourishment people need to thrive. What started as a humble man's drive to feed his family has grown to a greater responsibility. At Dyson Foods, we feed the world like family. We feed the world the positive energy to grow, learn, love. We serve the future with award-winning chefs, agribusiness economists, food scientists, and automation process engineers. We serve with safety, accountability, and delight. We take responsibility from farm to table with sustainability and transparency. Our leadership shines through our billion-dollar brands. There is no greater joy than feeding the world. There's no greater challenge. And we're up for it. Our 139,000 team members serve something much more than food. They serve a higher purpose. At Dyson Foods, we feed the world like family.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Angela Mosley Montz. I am one of the past presidents of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Council. It is my honor this evening to present to you our recipients for the Salute to Greatness Awards. The Salute to Greatness Awards is presented by the Northwest Arkansas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Council. The awards celebrate individuals and organizations that exemplify the values of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Service, leadership, justice, and community empowerment. That's what these individuals bring with them and why they're being recognized for these amazing awards. So before you, our audience of over 400 community leaders, advocates, and change agents, We proudly recognize the trailblazers, the visionaries, and unsung heroes whose dedication uplifts and strengthens our community. Our first award tonight is the Rodney Moment Youth Award. This award honors a young person who exemplifies outstanding leadership, integrity, and dedication to service. Recognized as an emerging change maker, the recipient uses their voice, talents, and actions to drive meaningful progress in our community. They embody the spirit of resilience, empowerment, and social change. Their passion and commitment reflect the struggle of young leaders who are shaping a brighter, more just future for us. Our recipient this evening is Anastasia Jones. First, we will have the video play, and then Anastasia, who is being escorted by her mother, Minister Monique Jones, will arrive on the stage with Lindsay Leverett Higgins, President of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Council, and our Vice President, Tanya Cook.
My name is Anna Jones. My dream is I go to college. I get excited for helping people. Helping people, it makes me feel happy. My mom, she's pushed my heart, and she really likes society to help my vote, competing, and then my mom get awards, and then I pay my mom. Thank you, and proud for you, me, and give you hugs. Someone kind. Thank you, my word.
Thank you. Anna, continue to be the change maker you are. Let's give one more round of applause for Anna. Our second award is our Rodney Moment Young Adult Award. This award recognizes a young adult who exemplifies leadership, integrity, and a strong commitment to community service. Through advocacy, mentorship, or community engagement, they work to uplift others and address important social issues. Their dedication, resilience, and passion for change inspire those around us and reflect the power of young leaders in building a more just and inclusive society. Our recipient is Kamara Flake, and after the video plays, she will be joined on stage by Lindsay and Tanya. Thank you.
My name is Kamaria Flake. I just recently graduated early in December, and in the moment I'm just getting prepared for college, looking for jobs, just trying to get more out in the world, help more in the community, meet some new people, make new friends. Right now is just continuing to grow myself and also not only inspire like the friends around me, but people who are also younger than me. I have little siblings, and I'm also around youth a lot. So I just want to continue to just inspire, letting people know that it's okay to be uncomfortable when you first start something. I feel like sometimes we can be put in situations that we kind of feel that someone else would be better at doing, or we kind of feel that we wouldn't be able to do it. But I feel like you just have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you're able to do it and not let anyone else's ideas or beliefs stop you from what you and yourself believe in. So I would just want people to know that it's okay. Like, you can step out of your comfort zone and you can do whatever you put your mind to. I like to give back to my community because I feel that it gives me purpose. Seeing people happy make me happy, and I think that overall just helping others makes the world better. I would say for my favorite moment would probably be the walk to Montgomery. I feel like that specific moment in itself showed a lot of dedication. There was a lot of violence during that time, and I feel that the Black community did not allow that to stop them. They followed Dr. King, and they had trust in him, that he knew what they were doing, and they continued until they felt that their purpose for what they had to do was done. We can make a difference by using our voices. I feel like as our generation continues to grow, the spotlight is put a lot onto us. Don't be afraid. Push yourself. Don't let anyone stop you. Make sure that you just don't give up. You can do whatever you put your mind to. God put us on this earth for a reason, and everyone has a purpose. So even though he does have a plan for you, you still have a say-so into what you do. I would like to say thank you to everyone who was involved throughout this selection process. I'm always thankful. I feel that even with this award, it will push me to continue to be out in my community and do more.
Please welcome to the stage Kamaria Flake, along with our President and Vice President of the Council. Thank you. Kamaria, continue to inspire and move forward as a leader. Next, we will have the Ernestine White Gibson Individual Achievement Award. This award is named after one of our former council members for MLK, who was responsible for the renaming of the Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard. This award honors an exceptional individual who has made significant impact through service, leadership, and unwavering commitment to their community, whether through activism, mentorship, or civic engagement. The recipient of this award embodies selfless dedication, working tirelessly to uplift others and promote unity and justice. Our recipient tonight is none other than Dr. Alicia Smith.
I am Dr. Alicia Smith. I am the Director of Learning and Development at Art and Wellness Enterprises. Ernestine White Gibson was a personal friend of mine and a sorority sister, and she had an amazing and incredible impact on my life. When I first met her, her exuberant personality insisted that I become involved and that I become an active member of this community when I first arrived here more than 28 years ago. And I have tried to continue that legacy, and so receiving this award, her named award, is amazing and such a beautiful surprise and honor. If we're thinking about a dream, thinking about world peace and having environments where people have what they need to survive, and that varies depending upon the person in terms of what they need. And so my dream is that people have that. Thinking about what media says about Dr. King and the way they try to portray him, they very often downplay some of the other things he said in the letter from Birmingham jail. He was examining what is actually moving the work forward and what's hindering the work. Very often it's the apathy, the prioritization of comfort, the desire to just get along that really hinders the work. We all, regardless of race, socioeconomic background, can very easily fall into those kinds of traps of just trying to be comfortable or just trying to handle my business, whatever that is. And our apathy, our desire to not get involved, our desire to not be uncomfortable hinders the work more than someone who is very demonstratively opposing the work. So that's just a reminder for me as well, to get uncomfortable and be okay with it. I had the privilege of being reared in a very socially conscious home, and I saw what commitment looks like. It's showing up when you don't feel like it, honoring your word. It's working hard at something, imagining something, and executing it over time. But I'm grateful for the examples I've had in my life that really show me how to do that. And I'm trying to demonstrate that for my children, for my community, for those around me, and be that person that shows up and to be the one who does what she says she's gonna do. I would really love to thank the selection committee for even thinking of me. It was such a wonderful and beautiful surprise to have been thought of. I don't think I've ever missed a celebration. I'd also like to thank my husband, Henry M. Smith Jr., for his unwavering support, my children, Xavier and Sterling Smith, for their support and how they push me as well. My church family at St. James Missionary Baptist Church, my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, my friends at the Links Incorporated, the Northwest Arkansas chapter. I've been given such the privilege to learn and make mistakes, to dig in and contribute to the environment here. And it was a pleasant surprise to have Northwest Arkansas be the place of my, they say grow where you're planted, where I could grow. So thank you to everyone who's involved with this award.
Dr. Elysia Smith. Dr. Smith, continue to soar and serve. Thank you. Our next award is the Dr. John L. Colbert Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is named also after one of our founders of the MLK Council. This award is a distinguished honor. It recognizes an individual who has dedicated a lifetime to service, leadership, and community advancement. Honorees of this award have demonstrated an unwavering commitment to progress, equity, and the betterment of society, leaving a mark on Northwest Arkansas. Their influence and contributions continue to inspire future generations, ensuring that Dr. King's dream thrives. This year's recipient is the Honorable former Mayor of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Lionel Jordan.
I'm Lionel Jordan. I'm a former mayor of the city of Fayetteville. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. When I was young, I heard a sermon in church, and it was entitled An Open Door and an Open Mind and an Open Heart. And I was probably around 10 years old, and I have lived with those principles all my life, since I was just a young child. And I believed in that, and I was following Dr. King during that time. The March on Washington was when I was 10 years old, and so it had a big impact on my life. I believed that we would establish, when I came into this office, and I was on the city council 2 terms, and I believe in a partnership-based government along the same principles that I just laid out. I believe that what I wanted to emphasize, an open door where everybody was a part owner of this city, no matter what the color of your skin or your religious belief or what country you come from or who you love, you are a part owner of this city. I hope that I have been able to lead the people. And, you know, people talk about, well, you just need to, handle the people. You need to handle the situations. You handle animals. You lead people. You love people. You serve people. When we talk about legacies, folks, I'm just kind of a product of this place. I mean, this city has made me what I am, and I have spent my life loving it and serving it and caring about it. And if I leave anything, I hope that they realize that I was a good servant that cared about the people, that cared about each and every one of them. I'm very humbled to receive this award. It is, as they say, I stand on the shoulders of great folks. It is something that I think is, as they say, it's a lifetime achievement, but it's a moment that I will never, ever forget and will always cherish all the days of my life. It's an honor to receive this award because I think of people like Dr. King and A. Philip Randolph, the great union activist, Maya Angelou. I think about Emerson. I think about Thoreau. I think about people that have this, Medgar Evers, that have this huge impact on my life. And I think of their lives when I think about this award, and what a fantastic honor it is for me to receive. Thank you, my friends. It's been an honor being the mayor of this city.
The Honorable Lionel Jordan. Mayor Jordan, well done, good and faithful servant, well done. Our next award is the Reverend J. Aaron Hawkins Posthumous Award. This award is also named after the founder, one of the founders for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Council. Reverend Hawkins started the council out of St. James Missionary Baptist Church. And we are so honored to have the opportunity to have an award in his name. This is a heartfelt award. It honors the legacy of an individual whose life and work made an enduring impact on the community as Reverend Hawkins did. Though no longer with us, their dedication to justice, equity, and service continues to inspire and shape our region, our state, and our country. This award is a tribute to their memory, their vision, and the profound differences they made in the lives of others. This award goes to Rose Richardson, accepting its Coach Nolan Richardson after the video plays.
Rose was what I would consider, if you looked up the word dedicated, love, and all the other adjectives that goes along with that, she would be the first person that, in my estimation, would pop up in the dictionary describing who she might be. She was one of the most caring people that I have ever been around. And because of the nature of the job that I was in, she had to fit in without being fitting in. She was one of those low-key, out of sight, out of mind, but really in the main picture of what needs to happen to the Richardson family. She did that. And for that, you know, it goes a long ways when you've been around Rose for over 55, 56 years. Her doing basically the same things year in and year out without any regrets, but actually loving what she did. She was involved with loving what she was able to do for helping me as a coach and growing up some kids. Before every game that I played, she was the one who laid out what I was going to wear. I never knew what I was going to wear, and she kept it that way until the time to change and get into the clothes that I would wear for the game. And she got such a big kick out of the polka dot shirts during the days at Tulsa and most of the beginning days here, that she was able to do that and to keep everybody guessing what color of polka dots will be worn tonight. And I think she got more out of that probably than just watching the basketball game. I admired the fact that she was able to take away from trying to win a game into trying to just learn how to dress so people will like what you're in. She took a big boots. I never bought anything. Whatever she had ready for me, that's what I wore. And it worked. It was sort of a superstition of hers that if she didn't pick out the clothes, we were not going to win. So I didn't want to take no chances. This award means tremendous to the Richardson family because, you know, we worked extremely hard. She has worked extremely hard on being not only a good fan, a good coach's wife. That's the other thing. She was the perfect wife for a coach, and I was very fortunate and lucky to get her to be a part of my life and my coaching career. And so that is something that I'll never forget, is the fact that she was so dedicated and so into what I had going on. 100 million thank yous, because sometimes the most important part of the puzzle is forgotten and left out when it was not going to work if you didn't fit the right piece in the puzzle. Rose was the piece that needed to be fit into the Richardson's puzzle because she was one of those who was dedicated and loved and cared about from not only the players, but from her family. Everything that she tried to do was trying to make everything happen on my behalf, on the University of Arkansas behalf, And that's why I thank the group that came together and decided that it's time to award the one behind all of everything an award. And that is very, very important to the Richardson family, to have her being honored with this award.
Please welcome to the stage Coach Nolan Richardson. Coach Nolan Richardson, thank you for sharing Miss Rose with us. Our last award, but not least, is the Organization of the Year. It is presented to a business, a nonprofit, or institution that has gone above and beyond in serving and uplifting the Northwest Arkansas community. This award recognizes organizations that have demonstrated extraordinary generosity, advocacy, and commitment to diversity, equity, and social responsibility. Whether through financial support, volunteers, or community-driven initiatives, these organizations set the standard for corporate and civic leadership. The award this year goes to the Northwest Arkansas Black Heritage Committee. Accepting on its behalf is Sharon Killian.
My name is Sharon Killian. I am president and founder of Northwest Arkansas Black Heritage. Dr. King believed in uplifting the community through service. At Northwest Arkansas Black Heritage, we make a meaningful difference by prioritizing service to the community, ensuring our work is inclusive and impactful. We are proud to approach our work with a commitment. Our communities are not monolithic, yet the oppressive structures we face in society often are monolithic. Education, preservation, and advocacy are pillars of our work. One notable impact was made when we offered the Fayetteville Public School Board of Education $1 for the Jefferson School properties. The act ignited a regional conversation about the erasure of Black history, compelling the community to confront uncomfortable truths and fostering a renewed commitment to preserving our shared heritage. We intentionally seek partnerships with individuals and groups who share our commitment to equity and justice. By fostering an inclusive approach and prioritizing the voices of those most affected by systemic inequalities, we try to ensure really, that our collaborations amplify diverse perspectives and drive meaningful change. Just as Dr. King left a legacy of hope for the nation, our organization strives to build a legacy of empowerment, cultural preservation, and systemic change through the incorporation of the Black Historic District in Fayetteville. Every day we move closer to establishing this beacon of resilience and pride, supported by the Mellon Foundation, anchored by the Afrofuturist Museum, a visionary project supported by the Walton Family Foundation. At the heart of this vibrant district, the museum will serve as an economic and cultural hub, inspiring creativity and learning, promoting entrepreneurship and opportunity, and fostering dignity and unity within the community. That's what we're hoping to do. Receiving this award affirms that our work is making a difference. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It inspires us to continue striving for equity, justice, and preservation, knowing that our efforts honor the sacrifices of the past and pave the way for a brighter future.
Please welcome to the stage Ms. Sharon Killian. Thank you, Ms. Sharon, and we're so glad that you're doing the work here in the region. Thank you. Let's give all of our recipients a round of applause for their exceptional, extraordinary work here in Northwest Arkansas. And thank you for being an amazing audience. Have a good evening.
Good evening. I'm Dr. John L. Colbert, one of the founder members of the Northwest Arkansas MLK Council. Thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate it. Let's give all the recipients another big hand for a job well done, and we recognize their service of what they have been doing. As we continue to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we want to take the time out to just let you relax and hear from this profound saxophonist who's going to come and bring you a number that you can move your fingers, stamp your feet, and enjoy. And that person is no other than Mr. Drain. And after he finished his number, then I'm gonna ask that Sarah Drain and Didrik Jenkins, who are the co-chairs of the Scholarship Foundation, to come and recognize our scholarship recipients. As you know, Sister Hawkins, that this organization first started giving 3 scholarships. Now we're all the way up until 25. So we feel happy that this is what it's about. And because of you, we can do that. So give yourself a big hand. So sit back and relax.
Y'all doing all right? Listen, I'm a Pentecostal boy, so when you get quiet, it makes me real nervous. I know we're in a library, and when I was playing out in the lobby area there, one of the ladies came by and said, "This is a library. We need you to turn it down a little bit." But since we're in here, we're going to turn it up. So, sound man, I need you to crank it up a little bit. So this song, contrary to popular belief, nobody can make a saxophone talk, okay? So I need to set up this song. The song is from Donald Lawrence. He wrote it a few years back. The song simply says, "Deliver me." And Donald Lawrence, when addressing an audience before the song started, said that some of us need deliverance from overthinking. And when he said that, I identified with it. I'm an overthinker. God says, go. I want to stay. God says, stay. I want to go. Yeah, so some overthinkers out there too. But the song goes from a prayer of "Lord, deliver me" to the end of the song is a vamp section that says, "This is my exodus." In other words, it moves from a prayer, "Lord, deliver me," to a confession and or praise that I'm delivered. I'm exiting out of the thing that I prayed for. And so what I'm praying for, and oftentimes when I play the song, this is one of the things that my prayer is, that by the time we get to the end of the song, whatever it is that you need deliverance from, by the time we get to the end of the song, you'll get your deliverance. I know we're in a library, but by the time we get to the end of the song, y'all have to forgive me. It might go up a few notches, but we're going to celebrate our exodus. Deliver me.
we were dancing back there. Y'all dancing? Good evening. I'm Sarah Drain. I'm here with my amazing council member, Detrick Jenkins, and we're really proud this evening to present 35 scholarships to 19 high school seniors from here in Northwest Arkansas and 16 undergraduate students who attend school all across the nation but graduated from a high school here in Benton or Washington counties in Northwest Arkansas. We're very proud of them, and we will announce them now. First, our young adult award winner, Kamaria Flake from Alps School of Innovation. From Bentonville West High School, Samantha Day and Aaron Higgins. From Fayetteville High School, yeah, y'all pause for a photo. We'll just have to change that up. Pause for the photo, and then y'all can come off the stage in the front, if you don't mind. Okay, this way. Oh, there's Lindsay. Hi. I did tell them that there were instructions in that envelope and not cash, to which some of them were quite disappointed. But we're still very proud to award these scholarships to them as they pursue their undergraduate studies. From Fayetteville High School, Sari Diaz, president of the Dreamkeepers organization. Sanaya Peggy. Maya Ridout. Also from Fayetteville High School, Paul Adams, or I'm sorry, Dante Adams. Sorry, Dr. Adams, he asked me to call him Dante. And then I got it wrong. From also Carrington Sims. Has Carrington Sims come out yet? She's back there dancing to that saxophone. Okay, Carrington Sims. Next, from Ozark Catholic Academy, Lupita Martinez. From Rogers Heritage High School, Tony Interiano. From Rogers High School, Peyton Smith. From Siloam Springs High School, Cindy Chavez Vasquez and Hallie Williamson. From Rogers Heritage High School, Jasmine Interiano. From Southside High School, Kennedy Davis. From Springdale Harbor High School, Isabella Hamby and Erli Mayfield. Good work to the slide controllers back there. From Springdale High School, Betsy Lopez and Jasmine Sanchez Quiros. And from Thaden School, Eva Becker.
I'm gonna name the undergraduates. We got Faith Childers at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. We got Ashton Laurent at University of Arkansas. Mr. Colin Timms, University of Arkansas. Morgan Gaines, University of Central Arkansas. Miss Rukaya Arube at University of Missouri at Kansas City. We got Mr. Braylon Palmer, University of Oklahoma. Nadia Cates, Florida A&M University. Mr. Ornette Gaines Jr., Harding University. Deanna Flemings, Howard University. Alicia Mays, Langston University. Raymond House, Jr., Missouri State University. Joshua Mays, Prairie View A&M. Madison Henry, Southern University. And Ayanna Hinton, Southern University. Caleb Henry, Tennessee State University. And Joshua Cooper, Tennessee State University. Thank you. Good?
Again, let's give all the scholarship recipients a big hand. We're very proud of them. At this time, I would like to introduce to you of a moderator and of a keynote speaker to come and have an honest conversation. First, of a moderator is Dr. Eric Hughes, is an artist and entrepreneur who believes in giving back to his community. He serves as a faculty member in the History Department of the University of Arkansas. Dr. Hughes' research investigates Black geographies in urban America through the lens of federal interstates. Hughes is the founder and owner of Visionary Enterprises. Visionary focuses on Black culture preservation and fulfills its mission through film and media, education, and social studies. I present to you our moderator, Dr. Eric Hughes. And to join him on the stage is no other than Dr. Reverend Michael Eric Dyson. You all, he is one of the nation's most renowned professor. He's a gifted writer. He inspires preaching, and he is very knowledgeable and he's a permanent media personality. As a teacher who earned a PhD in religions from Princeton University, Dr. Dyson has taught at some of the nation's most distinguished universities, including Brown, UNC Chapel Hill, DePaul, the University of Pennsylvania, and Georgetown University. He is presently the Distinguished University Professor of African American Studies. Look at him. I knew he was gonna come and cut me off because he really said, hey, don't say all that. Just say I'm from where? Detroit. Detroit. But you all, he is a profound speaker who really stands and speaks the truth, especially about his people. So it's my honor that I present to you no other than Dr. Reverend Michael Eric Dyson. Give it up.
All right, good evening, Northwest Arkansas. Good evening, Northwest Arkansas. Make some noise for yourself. Everybody in here looking good. It's MLK Day, make some noise, all right? So we gonna get into it. We're here tonight to speak with the Honorable Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, and it's a pleasure to have you here in Northwest Arkansas.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming to grace the great state with your presence, and hopefully tonight's conversation will be illuminating, and we'll be able to learn as we always do from you.
Thank you, sir.
So to get us started, I ain't gonna mince any words or waste any time. We're gonna jump in talking about the election and our sentiments going into a new administration. In your book, Represent, you talk about the impact of decisions such as the Citizens United versus the Federal Election Commission. And I wanted you to share with us about some of your thoughts on the election and what we need to be focused on as we move into this new administration.
Yes, sir. Well, it's great to be here. I want to thank Brother Charles and Sister Lindsay and the MLK Council for this extraordinary opportunity to sit here with this brilliant, handsome young man. Might rub off on me. Y'all might mistake me for him, and that's a beautiful thing. You know, Professor, it is rather remarkable to see in America what we are enduring right now. And it doesn't have to be bitterly partisan. I'm sure some people in this room voted for the next president to be inaugurated, and some were bitterly disappointed that the woman who opposed him was not elected. Beyond that, it's about the principle of democracy. Either you're going to stand by the institutional infrastructure of a democratic, small d, not big D, democratic impulse that says whether I win or not, I'm going to acknowledge the result. Whether I win or not, I'm not going to say the election was rigged. I'm surprised that there are no claims that this election was rigged. Wonder where that went. And so, look, it is extraordinary that in American society, we have the undermining and undercutting and subverting of the very institutional mechanisms that sustain the democratic experiment, the experiment in democracy, from the founding fathers on down. And we know that there were severe and vicious contradictions from the beginning. You've got Thomas Jefferson writing about freedom, owning human beings, right? You got him writing in Notes on Virginia, on the state of Virginia during the day, about the lack of abstract reasoning of the Negro, and then saying we lacked harmony. Now, bruh, now there's a lot of stuff you could have done said about black folk lacking harmony, wasn't one of them. Was he not listening to Destiny's Child? I'm not sure what Thomas Jefferson was doing. But the thing is, there were fatal contradictions from the very beginning. But every president who's occupied that space, except one, has devoted his, so far his, soon it'll be her, life to the perpetuation of a legacy and an institution that transcended their individual preoccupations, preferences, and perspectives. And so I would be lying if I sat here and pretended that the next president of the United States of America, who I acknowledge as the next president of the United States of America, will on day one pardon January 6th rebels, radical deinstitutionalists, and those who sought to illegally and immorally and criminally contradict the infrastructure of democracy in this country. We can't pretend that fascism, autocracy, plutocracy, oligarchy is afoot. And we can't pretend that the squeamish, measly, mealy-mouthed, weak-kneed capitulation of Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk to this form of power, or to rappers,
talk about it,
who now stand with them, falling back on that ass with a hellified gangster lean, getting funky on the mic like an old batch of collard greens. It's the capital S, oh yes, I'm fresh in double OP, D-O-double-G-Y, D-O-double-G, you see. And I love that brother. I love Snoop. But bro, what's going on? Nelly? What? I guess you a Saint Lunatic for sure. Rick Ross, you calling Drake a white boy, what is you doing? I know it's what are you doing, but allow me a solecism in the name of a bonicized articulation. So the point is that on both sides of the color line and both sides of American political order, and it should be multiple sides, not just both, we find ourselves in trouble. And I think that this orange apparition that has beclouded the American horizon needs to be called out for what he is. And I think that we have to be honest about that and say that the midterms are coming up, the next election in 4 years, let's not get stuck in this particular arena, because look, my pastor used to tell me we done already been through what we've come to, right? And we've existed in earlier eras when the great Nolan Richardson snatched that crown in '93 and the white supremacist rebellion against his tall, articulate, unapologetically black sensibility that led a team to victory. We done already been in more difficult situations and circumstances, with enslavement, with Jim Crow, with the blood of the summer of 1919, with Tulsa, Oklahoma. We ain't gonna let no orange apparition to stand up to becloud the American political horizon, a guy who stands up every day to excrete the feces of his moral depravity into a nation he has turned into a psychic commode.
Do we need to keep going? We can go home now. I mean, nah, we just getting started really, and I'm gonna let that sit.
And well, let me say one more thing. Let me add an addendum and a coda. Yesterday in the airport, I spoke for the city of Chicago's King Service. I was in the airport, sitting next to a beautiful, elderly white woman, and she was sitting there, and we struck up a conversation, and I found out that, you know, I'm heading to Dallas to go on to Arkansas, and she thought she was going to Washington, D.C. And I said, no, ma'am. I said, I don't think this is the gate. So I got up and I researched it. I asked the people who were there, because I didn't want this woman to make, you know, to not make her destiny. She told me, she said, I'm going to the inauguration. I said, well, look, it's inside now. I said, it's inside. She said, oh, yes. I said, it's inside, so I don't want you to be cold, because, you know, it was 28, 23 degrees with Barack Obama and a little less that with Reagan. But I understand snowflakes. You got to get inside. I told her, but I didn't say it to her. I said, I want you to make your destination. I got up. I took her ticket. I went to an agent. I then escorted her, took her luggage, and took her to the gate that there was appropriate one. And so I joked with her. I said, now, you know, I'm doing all this. I said, because you a wonderful woman. I said, he ain't even my guy. So she started laughing. I said, now, if you get lost, you can say goodbye to Joe Biden for me as well. So we had a good laugh about that. So despite the vigor and aggression of my particular language, I'm a human being. And I celebrate those who make a decision that is alternative to mine. And at the same time, right, let me say this. I understand people were upset that Barack Obama was yucking it up with Donald Trump. It ain't like he ain't expressed what he believes about Donald Trump. It's not like he didn't say what he believed, but he's not gonna not be a human being. And if you're sitting there, act like you got some sense and be kind. And show that man what a real man acts like, right? That's what I think is important.
So I'm going to shift our conversation just slightly to talk more about anti-blackness in a different form. In many of your works, and specifically in What the Truth Sounds Like, you talk about and reflect on the intersections of activism, politics, and race, and how is it possible to genuinely champion the work of welcoming? The work of welcoming. How can we champion that in this current climate that assaults diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Yeah, that's something we have to think about. You know, leaders make a difference. I met the Chancellor, is it Chancellor Robinson? Right here, an extraordinary, tall, chocolate, handsome man. Ebony ecstasy unfurled in coffee flesh. Go ahead, son. You know, very prominent, sophisticated gentleman. That says a lot about the University of Arkansas. That says a lot about who that leader is. That says a lot. Without words, right? Without articulating ideas, that says a lot when we see the symbolic representation of diversity. And I don't care what nobody says, diversity is critical to what America is. Without diversity, I spoke about Mr. Coach Richardson. There was a time when they didn't let Negro players, black players, play in major sports. Michael Jordan is the beneficiary of affirmative action in an NBA that had been historically all white. Now, you gonna tell me affirmative action meant an inferior person? Because ain't nobody been colder than that dude. Maybe Kobe in terms of fundamental skills. I don't want the coach, Richardson, to come up here and slap me. In fundamental skills, ain't nobody colder than Kobe. You know, LeBron is an amazing figure. All of those guys would never have played if there wasn't a concerted effort to say, Bob Cousy, you got to play with Bill Russell, right? And Bill Russell won, now we talking about the greatest of all time, the GOAT. Bill Russell won how many, 11 rings? I mean, and he was a coach and a player on one of them. I mean, let a real man do the popcorn, as James Brown said. So the thing is that symbolic representations make a difference. And let's say this, let's be honest. It ain't like the white brothers and sisters who are opposed to it don't practice their own variety of DEI. There's a white man named Ira Katznelson, and you are a prominent philosopher and a professor and an ethnographer writing brilliantly about segregation's impact upon geography. This is a brilliant professor right here. And you know that Ira Katznelson wrote a book, When Affirmative Action Was White. See? A lot of white brothers and sisters, well, what do you mean now? I mean, what we mean is, for instance, in World War II, with the GI Bill, returning soldiers, not the black ones for the most part, not the women, but the men, white men, got three things. First of all, they got points on a test to go to school and money. So you got hooked up whether you're gonna finish high school or whether you went to college. Number two, you got points on a test and a hookup to get a job. Number three, you got a mortgage so you could buy a crib. Excuse me, a house, a domicile that allowed you to have that's the holy hookup. Job, classroom, and in terms of a house. And so white brothers and sisters are not used to hearing that as the way in which the government's program to assist them enabled the expansion of the middle class. Suburbia was virtually created on the backs of that GI Bill, white suburbia. And as a result of that, black people were further segregated, and the black men who died, when they came home, they were lynched, some of them, for having the unabashed temerity to wear a uniform that they were willing to give their blood for in order for America to become a great nation and a protected nation and for democracy to be preserved. I say all that to say, DEI was a concession made to white opponents of affirmative action and reparations. In other words, we say to white brothers and sisters, that's y'all program. That's what white brothers and sisters were willing to do in order to achieve a proximate value of the diversity that is central to America. Now, you know, you do all these studies and you've read them, the empirical studies. Empirical is just a big word that means that which can be falsified or verified through the census, crushing the numbers, data, production of all of this evidence, right? And all this evidence says is better in school. Now, I've taught at, you know, many schools at I got a PhD at Princeton, I taught at Columbia, taught at Brown, Chapel Hill, and DePaul, and Penn. So I've been at a few Ivy League schools, done this, that, and the third, and done the thing. And now I'm at the historically black college, Vanderbilt. That's an HBCU. I'm a homeboy cutting up. That's what HBCU stands for. Because wherever I is, the black college ain't far behind. Already. And I started at Knoxville College in Knoxville, Tennessee. And all my kids went to historically black colleges, university, to Morehouse, to Spelman, and to Hampton. Those are fine institutions, and without them, a lot of kids wouldn't even get a chance. Absolutely. Now, so when you do all these studies, it says if you have a diverse audience, you got a better classroom. And let's take race out of it for a while. Let's take race and class, right? Let's take race and gender out. Let's just say white folk. Right, what happened before black folk and women could get into school? How did you make a decision about who could go to Harvard and who couldn't? It wasn't purely merit, trust me, right? Because you know, coming your cousins, Jethro and them, you know they weren't the sharpest knife in the drawer. Now we know one former president about to be future president went to Wharton Come on, dog. Come on now. You know, we got another one who was a C student at Yale. Not gonna do it. All right, so the point is, everybody ain't been the sharpest. All right, that's cool. Because those obviously, those young men possess gifts because they became president, right? Let's not fade what they did. And even the guy I was speaking about, let's not act like he ain't no genius of media and the manipulation of symbolism in order to articulate his vision. I mean, respect my man's game at that level, right? So the point is about DEI is that diversity is critical. So people got in because, hey, there's a person from Idaho who plays the violin. That will match up well with the person from Nebraska who plays the cello. Everybody can't be from the densely populated New York. We got to have diversity of geography. We have to have a diversity of understanding. Everybody can't be a physicist studying black holes, right? And studying Einsteinian conceptions of relativity versus Heisenberg's conception of, you know, quantum mechanics. You need some people in there who do physical things, Enrico Fermi and others who do physical application. We need an Oppenheimer who can come along and develop a bomb that will help us defend ourselves and do some unfortunate imperial things as well. So the point is, you always need diversity. So when you add women who are the major beneficiaries of diversity, especially white women, right? Let's not forget that. And when you add people of color, you ain't adding nobody who ain't got skills. I mean, I ain't trying to be funny, but I mean, look at you. Who gonna turn you down? Look at me. Okay, a lot of people would. But the point is, we got skills, we got jokes, we're funny as hell. Even if we disagree with people, we're not nasty, but we are unapologetic in defense of the ideas that we represent. And a lot of people get nervous about a self-assured black person who, without regard for context in a negative fashion, begins to assert the truth and articulate ideas that can be examined and withstand rigorous scrutiny. So for me, when I think about DEI, it's extremely important to say that is a value-added dimension of American education. Now, and I'm saying that all these corporations turning coat, you know, and giving up on DEI, you know, after George Floyd, you know, DEI was a major thing. You know, they put the black box on Instagram, you know, they gave millions of dollars, thank you for that. They committed themselves to making a difference, and then the backlash came. Right. Because the backlash always comes from certain conservative white brothers and sisters. They got a right to exist, they got a right to their ideas. But the same thing happened after the Civil War. Do you know the only group of people initially who got reparation for slavery were white slave owners who were pissed that they lost the labor, free labor, of the enslaved. And then they got mad. You're giving them too much. They're getting too much hookup. Reconstruction only lasted 12 years after 250 years of enslavement. So then when you think about the fact that there's always been white resistance to black progress. Martin Luther King Jr. comes along. After his death, then there's backlash, anti-affirmative action. Then there's backlash, even before in the 1919 summer when the blood of black people flowed, 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When we say we don't need no white, no bless oblige, we're gonna do it on our own. We're gonna build our own city and hook it up. What did they do? You dropped a bomb on me, right? You know, the Gap Band, you know. And they're from Oklahoma, get the reference, see what I did there? So the point is, thank you. You don't have to applause us at all. You know. Hey, boy, good. So the thing is that we have always witnessed a white backlash. And the white backlash came fast and furious. They're mad at CRT. They don't know the difference between CRT and OPP. Come on, man. You down with OPP? Thank you. I'm glad you're 90s hip-hop fans. Turn to your white neighbor and say, that's a black thing from the 90s. Don't worry, you're not being left out. So the thing is that critical race theory simply was an application of a legal principle To say don't, when you think about racism and bigotry, think individual, think institution. Don't think personal, think systemic and structural. We're not blaming individual white brothers and sisters. Nobody loves white folk in America more than black folk. There ain't no damn doubt about that. So the question is, how do we leverage the moral authority of a legitimate Democratic, small d, I don't mean big D now, not Democrat versus Republican, Democratic impulse to preserve and create opportunity for the vast majority of citizens? And look, I'm living in Nashville right now. I'm a big country music fan. I know you can tell that. I know you think I quote Snoop Dogg, but I can quote some George Jones too. He stopped loving her today. Come on, man. What? Now, the reason he stopped loving her because she was dead, but that's all right. It's a great song, right? I love the country boys and girls, right? Because they're like hip hop. They got great lyrics, right? If I'd have met you, if I'd have killed you when I met you, I would have been out of jail by now. That's one of my favorites. That's amazing. That's an amazing country song, right? So the thing is, there's tremendous beauty and power in working class, rural, white culture that needs to understand its relationship organically and morally to struggling African American, Latino, indigenous, and Native peoples as well. Dr. King is in jail in Birmingham. And his jailers come up to him and they say, Dr. King, you know you're wrong. What you're working for in terms of desegregation is wrong, segregation is right. White folk over here, black folk over there. He said, no, it's not. They went back and forth. Finally, he asked, how much money do you make? And when they told him, Dr. King, now, you know, hell, you need to be out here marching with us. He did say, hey, I got some King imitations now, you know what I'm saying? Now, Snoop, I don't know what in the hell you're doing. Falling back on that ass and stay there. Okay, anyway, so the thing is, we aim to please, we aim to please. So the thing is, sir, that when we think about the multitude of peoples that come together, poor white folk, rural white folk, folk who listen to country music, folk who are black and rural and in the Delta, Mississippi, and who listen to the blues. The blues are black country and country is the white blues. I mean, there's organic relationship between the two. This is why I so criticize the man coming into office. You are simply seeking to undermine the unity we should all have. You calling Mexicans a rapists? I'm not saying he's a rapist, but I'm saying 34 counts, including sexual assault. We know I'm not going to do the George Stephanopoulos and get sued. But you were accused of sexual assault and convicted. And you got all this. A brother can't even get a job if he offended the dog catcher and got a ticket. And you the president of the United States with these felonies. One guy who had the office wore a tan suit and lost their mind. Had he drank, one of them was meeting with a Russian dictator in the Oval Office. There was a lot of gas and extraneous gases going on, a lot of Putin. Come on, man, come on, man, come on. Even conservative white folk, come on, give it up. I mean, come on, man, come on, man. And had that brother had a white Russian drink, they'd have put him out of office. Now I'm being hyperbolic, I get that that's not true. Work with me here. This is a fanciful articulation of an imagined opposition that exists because of color. So I'm saying, sir, that DEI is critical and necessary, and I hope the University of Arkansas is preserving it. I hope that What are you doing? What are you laughing? Did I say something wrong? I was about to say Vanderbilt. What are they laughing for? Why are you laughing? Are y'all, wait a minute, did I say something, was something else? What are y'all laughing at?
Well, I changed the language to the work of welcoming because DEI doesn't exist on our campus anymore. And it's a part of the legacy that you're discussing. And the
Are you serious? Oh, okay. All right.
And that's why
I'm gonna holler at the chancellor later. We're gonna have a conversation.
That's why we
That's
have
my
you
man.
here.
That's my man.
That's why
I didn't
we got
know
you
that.
here.
So sorry. I ain't trying to be inhospitable.
That's why we got you here, is to help keep us transparent about what's really happening out here.
Well, I think he's the greatest example and symbol of what DEI can bring us. A brilliant man with degrees, the terminal degree. I think he's the very embodiment of what DEI represents, and we need more of that, not less of it. That's what I'll say.
Already. So I'm going to shift our conversation ever so slightly. Reverend Doctor, good Reverend Doctor. We're gonna talk about the church and the role that the church.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about the church, and obviously the church specifically in Black communities has been essential. Religion has been essential from the moment that Black people have arrived in North America.
Right.
And in fostering community and fostering change and championing social justice. What role does the church have in the future and going forward in those conversations and in that arena?
Yes, sir. Very eloquently and efficiently stated. Look, I've met several ministers here tonight. Just to know, they've given me permission to use 7 curse words. Just want y'all to know that. I ain't got there yet. Did I use a curse word yet? I don't think so. I mean, I got 7 in the chamber, ready to go. All right? I've been an ordained Baptist minister for 45 years. Don't nobody cuss like no preacher. But I didn't say that out loud. I'm so sorry. Look, the Black church is central. I was having a conversation with Sister Lindsay, who was giving a brilliant demythologization of the accreted rituals that obtain around ecclesiastical practice in the Black church. In other words, Black people are losing the efficacy of the Black church, the dissipation of the numbers. That's true, but it's still, to my mind, the most powerful institution in America for Black people, right? I mean, we saw Reverend Lauder up here. He was just getting started. He's about to break it down. And I say, all right, okay. I don't know if he's a hooper. I'm just making it up. Here's, oh Lord. Oh. Anyway, and the husband and wife, I forgot their name, the beautiful couple, the Smiths out here. They gave me permission for 7 cuss words. So the thing is that we need the Black church, right? The Black church was central to defining who we are as a people. Why? Because the Black preacher was the most independent figure in the community. And unlike other Black people who depended upon white noblesse oblige and largesse and white employment, the Black preacher was employed by Black people. So the Black preacher ought to be telling the truth. I hope y'all will forgive me and understand I'm a Black preacher, so I'm in that tradition. I got to tell the truth like I see it. It don't mean it's true, it's just what I believe to be true. But I got to tell the truth. And if I were to take an informal poll among the white brothers and sisters, raise your hand if you don't want me to tell the truth. Okay, thank you. And the thing is, it's hard a lot of time for white brothers and sisters to hear the truth when they've not been used to hearing it without apology, without asterisk, without a filter. You know, I think about that Jack Nicklaus movie. You can't handle the truth. Come on, Jack, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, he's talking to Tom Cruise, right? You can't handle the truth. And it's the very people who calling Black folk and women snowflakes and weaklings can't even go outside in the cold for the inauguration. I mean, can't, oops. I got to get one in. I got to slide one in. But these are the folk who are critical of African-American people when what we have sought to do merely and primarily is to exist on our own terms with the freedoms that are guaranteed to us by the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution with its amendments. So for me, the Black minister was always the free one. That's why Martin Luther King Jr. could say what he said. And even though now we celebrate Dr. King as an American hero, he was a threat to America, right? If you loved him so much, why he dead, right? The question is, right? The second in command at the FBI called Martin Luther King Jr. the most dangerous Negro leader in America, right? That's before Malcolm came along, and then even when Malcolm came along, Malcolm said to Mrs. King, tell Dr. King, I'm doing what I do so he can do what he do. Starsky and Hutch. Y'all remember Starsky and Hutch? Come on, man, you people got to get a little older and understand what was going on. Look at Nick at Night, okay? So the thing is that, you know, as the church, we went there for the freedom of expression. We went there for educational opportunities. We went there for politics. And one of the things that disturbs me so much about, and I was talking to Reverend Dr. Sister Lindsay, Reverend Dr. Brother Charles, because they were deacons in the church, it seems. They were upholding the value of that church, and that's beautiful. The thing is, I look at the Instagram and I look at the social media, and I see the theology of luxury and the theology of leisure and the theology of prosperity. Now, I ain't trying to elevate poverty. Trust and believe. Not trying, been there, don't want to go back. But when I hear a preacher talk about poverty and poor people, a well-known one on these internets, on Beyonce's internet, right? And they're telling me that poor people who are black don't preach or think or pray the right way, then how do you explain Jesus, right? How do you explain those who were without sufficient material reward for the investment of their work? And so I'm disturbed, to tell the truth, when I hear people say, well, why are you bringing politics in the church? Dude, do you know the origin of the black church? They were up in the balcony in the white church. They didn't want them there, so they had to hat up. It's an old phrase for leave. They had to leave. They had to make egress from the white church because the white church didn't want the Negroes in their place. But wait a minute, how are we going to be together in heaven? We can't even be together down here on earth. But then they told Negroes that you were going to have segregation in heaven. That's when we had to cut it off. Okay, you tripping right now. Oh, hell no, we ain't. And I heard somebody out here singing. Who was that singing? Sam Cooke. Man, he was killing that Sam Cooke. I was in the back. Darling, you. Yeah. Sam was singing about the last song he sang, came out posthumously. I was born by the river in a shack, right? And the point is, he says, I go down, you know, and to the movie, and they tell me I can't watch it, and so on and so forth. Same thing was going on in church. So those who are black, who don't want politics in your church is in politics. Your church began with a political gesture of rebellion against white supremacist suppression of your freedom of speech. So the black church has lost its way. I hate to say it. This is why rappers were taking the place of some of these ministers. Because at least Tupac was telling the truth. Somebody wake me, I'm dreaming. I started as a seed, the semen, swimming upstream, planted in the womb while screaming. On the top was my pops, my mama hollering stop from a single drop. This is what they got. Not to disrespect my people, but my papa was a loser. Only plan he had for mama was the blanker and abuser. And even as a seed, I could see his plan for me, stranded on welfare, another broken family. And then he also said, just the other day, I got lynched by some crooked cops, and to this day, them same cops on the beat getting major pay. But when I get my check, they taking tax out, so we paying the cops to knock the blacks out, right? This is prophetic intervention in behalf of an aware and sensitive social conscience that allows us to affirm our commitment to unifying with all brothers and sisters, regardless of race, but not at the expense of the dignity of our identity. And this was what Martin Luther King Jr., to bring it back on home to him, this is what Dr. King was talking about as well. That when people said about us going somewhere else, you know, go back where you came from. I've had several white people say that to me. I said, I'm from Detroit, don't make me go back right now. Now that our football team is doing well, make me go back right now. Hope we win tonight. I hope y'all with me. You fakes, okay? Detroit gonna win tonight, right? So the thing is that they tell me to go back, and I get hate mail from white brothers and sisters. I know it's hard for you to imagine that. And they telling me nigga and calling me names. I say that's Dr. Nigger to you. Just not sure if you understand. That's Reverend Professor Dr. Nigger if you're gonna be exact. And then I have to correct their grammar too. I said, no, Niger is a place in Africa. You meant something else. And the thing is, I try to use humor because I don't want to be bitter and resentful. I know it's hard for white brothers and sisters to hear the kinds of things I'm saying, unmitigated, unfiltered, without an asterisk. But when your ass ain't at risk, it's a different story. And we have done a disservice to white brothers and sisters by not speaking openly and honestly about what we always believe, because as I began, our jobs are at stake. So the reason the black preacher was free, because if the worker spoke something and said that he or she was a member of the NAACP, fired, right? So cancel culture didn't start with the internet. So the black preacher was free. And what we're doing with our freedom right now is reprehensible. What we're doing with the black church in terms of the cumulative value of that church is reprehensible. I'm heading to the Progressive National Baptist Convention. Well, I got to go back to Chicago first and speak in Aurora. Then I go there to the Progressive National Baptist Convention. The Progressive National Baptist Convention was started by Dr. King and Dr. L. Venture Booth and others because the National Baptist Association was too conservative as black folk and didn't believe in civil rights. And so he had to leave and start. So it ain't just white versus black, it's right versus wrong. And there are many white allies who stand with progressive black brothers and sisters who need to be acknowledged for their profound commitment to truth and social struggle against Clarence Thomas, against black people. Sorry. That slipped. I meant to say Clarence Carter, one of my favorite singers. Stroking. Okay. Some white folk we would take any day. We'd have a national trade. We'll trade Clarence for 50 white folk in Northwest Arkansas who are doing the right thing. Because what we get with Clarence is white supremacy by ventriloquism. Black mouth moving, white supremacist ideas operating. Byron Donalds, the congressman, and all these people claim to be Christians and love God. I have no doubt they do. But he says we were better under Jim Crow. Well, let's do an experiment. Let's send your black butt back. And guess what? The white wife you got, you would be lynched for having, right? And I'm sure interracial marriage is a beautiful exemplification of the liberty and emancipation of people to love who they love beyond race. If you and this microphone can get along, y'all should have a relationship. Hey, how are you? Fine. How are you? I'm cool. How you doing? I'm good. I like you. Thank you. Why? Because you amplify me. All right. Y'all slow, man. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, man. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, man. I'm charging extra for these jokes because, damn it, I'm going on the road with Dave Chappelle. So the thing is, the black church has been central to the definition of our struggle. But as we were talking to Sister Lindsay and Brother Charles, the rapid proliferation of secularism, which meant it decentered the authority of the ecclesiastical order, the black church, and as a result of that, people outside the realm of preaching and the clerics, because they were the best educated and they were the ones allowed to get education, go to school and come back. They were the best educated, and as a result of that, they were able to embrace liberating beliefs and ideas that are important. Let me end by saying this. But it's important, this is why, and let me circle back to these rappers. White folk ain't got Britney Spears representing them, right? White folk ain't got, I don't know, Taylor Swift, although she's a pretty damn good, representative, as far as I'm concerned. Patrick Mahomes' wife, not so much, but she's not a singer, and I get it. They won today, so damn it. That damn Patrick Mahomes. The hell is wrong with him? I'm playing bad, I'm not doing well, and I'm still kicking your butt. Damn it. So the thing is that when we think about these rappers, I'm all for you speaking up, but God dang it, know what you're talking about when you do. And even if you're a conservative, I ain't mad. Even if you're a conservative, if you're a right-winger, which I think is, oxymoronic, but that's all right, you do your thing. Why is it that you are the representatives of people when we got this professor right here who should be speaking for us nationally, who is doing an amazing job here as a professor, as an entrepreneur with his lovely wife, their two Dr. Hughes and one black family? They killing the game up in here now. They killing the game up in here. So why we got little baby, little baby what, representing us, and I don't even understand what the hell you saying anyway. What I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? No, I do not know what you're saying, right? I'm from a generation where you could hear it, standing by the speaker. Suddenly I had a fever. Was it me or either summer madness? I could understand what you're saying, but maybe they are mumbling because even when they were clear and articulate, they were still being slaughtered and erased. But my point is that the necessity of our so-called entertainers representing us is because of white supremacy too. Because Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and Lou Alcindor, then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Jim Brown had the very access that the masses of black people were denied. So by virtue, they became de facto spokespeople. But you got to know what you're talking about before you represent us. And so Soulja Boy, Superman, now, hey, what, Drake, you are now the emblem of a fascist autocrat because you refused to do your homework and because that dude pardoned the founder of Death Row? Just not individually, if he pardoned you, I ain't mad. Look, if the man pardoned you, go on and vote for him. Have a party. If you the mayor of New York going down to Mar-a-Lago and you trying to get the hook up, I'm not mad at you, player. You know what I'm saying? I like orange sickles. I like orange soda. I like orange cones. I just love orange. I'm not mad at you. But for the rest of us who are not beholden to that kind of fascist politics, we need to hold up the line of resistance. That's what the black church needs to continue to do.
Amen. Man, I'm so glad that Brother Chris and Sister Lindsay brought you here to speak on all of these issues, but particularly on the church, because we need to hear that. So I have a question that I want to conclude our conversation with. We're here, obviously celebrating Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and the tremendous legacy that he left for our nation. And I want you to speak to the collective hope that he represented and that we can draw from in this dark time. Can you leave us with some hopeful moments from King's legacy?
No, that's a great point. Dr. King was a truth teller. It would surprise many people in this room to know some of the things he said near the end of his life, right? When he started out early, how long? Not long. Truth crushed the earth shall rise again, right? He was just beautiful. And then I have a dream. I have a dream. One day, my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Beautiful, right? People take those words out of context. He said it was a dream, not a reality. So it wasn't there yet. So content of character cannot be juxtaposed to color of skin in an absolute fashion. But near the end of his life, the last speech he gave, all we ask America is be true to what you said on paper, right? Martin Luther King Jr. said, I hate to say it, but most Americans are unconscious racists, right? That's all of us. black, white, red, yellow, brown, right? We all are complicit in the hatred of a blackness that has been so difficult to manage and so complicated to comprehend. But Martin Luther King Jr. never gave in to despair. Now, he was clinically depressed. Let's just be real. And why wouldn't he be? They're trying to kill him every day. Look, I've had death threats. Yeah, you can act like you bad. The FBI call you up, look, bro, you know, people trying to holler at you. Really? Over a book? I'd be like Richard Pryor, what? What the hell? Okay. And these were black people trying to hurt me over my Cosby book. Oh, yeah, doctor. Oh, yes, sir. Now, I've had other death threats as well, but I'm going to tell you what. You up here trying to speak, and then your stomach is gurgling. Good God, are they going to come in on the top of the elevator and try to hurt you? Just be like, what the hell? He did this every day. Every day. I'm tired of living under the threat of death. That's what he said. I'd like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. So here's a man who was clinically depressed. His doctor gave him pills. They didn't work no more. One doctor told him to drink a fifth of liquor every night. It didn't work. Let's be real, right? He's out here by himself arguing on the phone with his wife. Let's just keep it real. Because she wanted him to be at the crib. You was supposed to be at home with the kids. Now, Corey, I'm out here trying, you know, can you imagine that? Now, you a married man. You know how rough it is. Come on. We have to obey our wives at all times anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it's rough. But, baby, I'm out here, I don't know, trying to lead this march. Can I get a break? No, you've been having a break. Get us a house. He didn't buy a house until a few years before he died because he didn't believe in private property. He made $50,000 a year in 1961, 62. Now, that's good money now. Imagine how much money that was then, and gave every dime except $5,000 to the movement. He had to borrow money from his daddy every year to pay his taxes because he gave it up. Ralph Abernathy, his boy, said, I don't know about, you know, when he got the Nobel Prize money, $54,000. Again, that's a lot of money. He said, I don't know what you're going to do with the rest of it. I need half. I'm out here, they might miss you and shoot me, Negro. I need half that dough. That's great. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just keeping it real, right? So he said, no, that's not my money, Ralph. He told his wife said, take 20,000 of that 54,000 and put it aside for the kids. He said, I can't do it. It's not my money. He gave it all to the movement, right? Now, I'm not demonizing Coretta Scott. She's a wife. You're leaving her every day in a ghetto home by herself. Somebody breaks in, discovered it was King's house, and left. That's tough. But this is the price he paid. He had stomach issues. He had hiccups so bad. He got to speak, cleared. Sat back down, hiccup again. He was in a room. He could only be comfortable if it had no windows because he's sick and tired of wondering who's going to kill me. And in the midst of that, he refused to hate white people, even though not just James Earl Ray, the man accused of his murder, but millions more hated him. In 1968, he was no longer among America's 10 most admired Americans. He had been there for a decade, off the list. Spoke out against the war in Vietnam. The President of the United States of America, the greatest president for black people since Lincoln. LBJ did work. Civil Rights Bill, Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Bill, and then in homage to Dr. King's death, the Fair Housing Act. That's the Holy Trinity. That's huge. The dude did it. But he was calling King a goddamn nigger preacher because he spoke out against the war in Vietnam. He said it's almost as if he raped my daughter. The psychosexual, neo-Freudian, Carl Jungian shadows working there was interesting. But King kept on. The black people who were supposed to be on his side said, you're ranging out there, you're getting crazy, you're getting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, we can't do it. The black school he went to, Morehouse College, refused to put him on the board of trustees until a couple of years before his death. Why? Because the white trustee chair, Merrill and Lynch, Mr. Merrill, said that King was a poor role model. Why is that? Because he went to jail too often. He wasn't dealing crack. He was trying to crack the edifice of white supremacy and black bourgeois capitulation to imperial whiteness. But he was a man who loved this country so much he was willing to die. The night that he gave his last speech, he was tired. It was raining cats and dogs in Memphis. He didn't feel like going. He got in his bed, and Jesse Jackson and Ralph Abernathy went over to the auditorium because King, one of the few vanities he had, he didn't want to speak to no small audience because the newspaper would immediately say, King lost his juice. He ain't nobody coming up to see him. So he didn't want to give them a free play in that. So they got there and says, 2,000 people here, Doc, you got to come. Gets out of his bed, goes to Mason Temple. And that speech all of you have heard. But go home, I invite you to listen to the entire thing. When Ralph Abernathy gave him an extraordinarily long introduction. What did Ralph know? What did he feel? Right? The longest introduction. Ralph Abernathy is the best friend I've got in the world. And then King goes on and he paints a picture. Off the dome, off the top of his head. If God will allow me to live just a few years in the latter part of the 20th century, I will be satisfied. He said, let me go through history, Euripides and Aristophanes. And he said, I stop and see a young man, vacillating between setting the slaves free or not. He goes through Abraham Lincoln. He goes through history. He said, but let's come to the moment we're in now. And he says to America, be true to what you said on paper. He was there for sanitation workers. His own staff said, don't bother with those poor Negroes. But 2 garbage men had been killed in a garbage truck, and King wanted to be there to speak to them and to that community and to argue against the mayor who didn't want to give them a raise. They were making $2 or something an hour. And so they had a pillow fight the night before his murder, because King had a sense of humor too, gallows humor. But he grabbed a pillow and he said to Andrew Young, because there wasn't no Facebook, wasn't no cell phone. He'd been gone all day. Where you been, little? And he used the N-word. He said, where you been? And he hitting him with the pillow and they hitting each other back. Big old kid, 39 years old. And when I go to that Memphis museum, when I see the room as he left it, room 306, tiny, and he was at, I think, the Hyatt, but the Negroes criticized him while you going to the white people's hotels. So he checks out and goes to the black motel, so he can be even fairer game for murder. Sometimes black people will kill you or get you killed while you're trying to serve them. Let's be real. And so King is there, room 306, with the cigarette tray with the cigarettes, because he smoked. Again, who gonna judge him, right? He's out here trying to fight against white supremacy every day. They're trying to literally kill him. The FBI refuses to tell him about legitimate threats on his life. J. Edgar Hoover was a horrible, pompous, pedantic, condescending, full of himself, narcissistic, horrible human being. And yet he had control and power. And Bobby Kennedy, the liberal, allowed the wiretap of King. And when those tapes come out in 2027, that's why I dealt with them in my book. A lot of people got mad at me. Deal with the sexual profligacy and deal with it. But the white men are judging him, who had unlimited access to black female sexual desire, could rape black women without legal compunction or moral response, and yet mad at King for having consensual relations, right? All of this, taping him. And if somebody put a microphone under your bed, what would they discover? So don't be too judgmental, right, at that level. And so all of this piling up, and you go to that room, whereas the rapper The Game on a song with Nas said the future took a headshot. 6:01 p.m. local time. He's standing on the balcony speaking to Jesse Jackson and Ben Branch, who will play Precious Lord for him that night. His friend is Mahalia Jackson, and he wants him to play that version in that song. He said, play it real pretty for me. He's jousting with Jesse Jackson. I see you don't have a suit and tie on. He said, Dr. King, the only requirement for dinner is not a suit and tie, but an appetite. Jesse was sharp even then. So they're laughing. Billy Kyles, whose house he will go to, is on the stairs talking, and then a shot rang out. A report across the parking lot found its object with unerring accuracy and ripped a hole in his neck. His tie was literally cut off. He fell onto the ground on his back, and through the banisters, he was bicycling his legs. Ralph Abernathy, his best friend, goes into the room, takes a jar, extracts a cardboard from a laundered white shirt, and scoops the blood into the jar, the blood of the prophet. And this man, to the very end, loved America so much, he was willing to give his life, loved black people so much that he was willing to lay down so that we might rise up. And so when I think about Dr. King's memory, I say to these young rappers and other entertainers and other political figures and social media activists and influencers, please don't forget the origin of the right you have to express yourself. And you don't have to be narrow and dovetail with everybody else who's black. Be free, be independent. Use your critical faculties for your own advance, but understand that the possibility of what you do rests upon the struggle of black people. Some of who were gray-haired, you laughing at them, they had that gray hair, their bladders are messed up because they couldn't stop on a freeway to use a bathroom, and you laughing at them, and you talking about what you would do if you were alive and you would be so revolutionary. You here right now doing inauguration, spitting lyrics at the man's gathering. So spare me telling me what you would do if the revolution were here and you would behave. So for me, Dr. King represents the beautiful symphony of a majestic story that we continue to tell, that despite the horror, the trauma, the evil, the resistance, the pain or heartbreak, that he believed in hope. And I'll end by saying this. His teacher was Howard Thurman, a great prophetic mystic. And Howard Thurman said, refuse the temptation to scale down your dreams to the event of your immediate experience. Whatever you're going through now, don't reduce your life to that. Divorce, kids won't listen to you, job won't pay attention to you, underpaid. Whatever trauma or trouble you face or trial, don't reduce your dreams to that event. Thurman said you can either, he said, look at our slave foremothers and foreparents, right? Forefathers. The long rows of cotton and the rawhide whip of the overseer. He said, but they imagined a different future beyond the one they were stuck in. He said, either you're going to be a prisoner of the event you confront, or you're going to be a prisoner of hope. And I choose to be a prisoner of hope. Martin Luther King Jr. was a prisoner of hope. And if we are a prisoner of hope, we have the best possibility of transforming this country.
Amen. Dr. Dyson, it's been an honor. On behalf of the Northwest Arkansas MLK Council, Northwest Arkansas in general, we want to thank you for joining us. Let's give it a round of applause for Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. Thank you.
Dr. Dyson, you come join me. Can we give him another round of applause, please? Dr. Dyson, we just thank you for your powerful words and your thought-provoking sentiments. And we just are honored to have you in Northwest Arkansas. And on behalf of the Northwest Arkansas Council, we like to present you with this small token of esteem. And we only ask that your next interview on television, you just make sure that it's in the scene. Let's give him another round of applause.
Thank you so much. It says that waiting on me is medical marijuana in the back. I thank you so very kindly. Free at last, free at last.
Thank you again to our sponsors and to our community for joining us again this evening. Thank you and have a good evening.